Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
The week ends with more cleanup and the reality of so much rebuilding still to come after Monday's record rains. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amitha Sharma, in for Maya Trabulsi. Tonight, at least one school in Spring Valley faces repairs that will take more than a month before it's safe for students to return. KPBS education reporter MG Perez has the latest on the recovery efforts.
Industrial fans are running around the clock at Bancroft Elementary in the La Mesa Spring Valley School District. In this cell phone video obtained by KPBS, you can see how the campus was devastated by high water, mud, and debris Monday morning during the downpour. Bellamy Haylock and Faith Cooney are two students who saw it all.
Which was kind of making me nervous because I was like, oh my God, what if it comes into my classroom? I looked out the door after recess because it was inside recess and it was like really flooded.
Essentially what we had was a river flowing.
Robert Cochran is Chief Safety Officer for the La Mesa Spring Valley School District. He says the school is at the bottom of a hill surrounded by storm drains that got clogged in the chaos of the floodwaters. He provided these photos of what was left behind. Tonight, district officials have determined the damage was so bad that flooring in every classroom and office will have to be replaced, and that will take until at least the end of February.
When you have a flood, the most important thing is for dry time to occur, right, and then for disinfectant time to occur, and then also to look at any other underlying materials to make sure everything's safe.
Until then, the 500 students and 60 staff members who were safely evacuated Monday are now holding classes at nearby Spring Valley Academy, where donations and support from across the district are concentrated now to help displaced students and their families, including Francie Filskov and her daughter Faith.
She seems to be okay. It's a little, unsettling at first, but, she knows all the staff and the faculty and all the kids, so it makes it easier, I think.
Much of the schoolwork left behind in the debris is a sign that learning will resume here. And this devastating teachable moment will also provide lessons in self-care and preservation of mental health.
Those needs are being addressed every day because kids are saying, look, I'm overwhelmed. I need some time. I'd like to spend some time either talking to my teacher, somebody else takes the class, so that they can spend some time with their trusted adult.
10-year-old Faith Cooney also says this.
I don't really know, but I really hope it.
Hope that
everyone's going to be okay.
MG Perez, KPBS News.
Teams from the City of San Diego's Stormwater Department are working against the clock to clear culverts along Troyes Creek ahead of another forecasted storm. Work began this morning in South Crest, starting in the storm channel at 38th Street and working upstream. The city says so far, more than 1,000 tons of storm-related debris have been removed, including mud, trash, and household items. Crews are focusing on South Crest, Mountain View, and Encanto, neighborhoods which saw the most significant flooding on Monday.
These channels where we're standing here today can handle, based on their current conditions, somewhere around the 2-year storm, right? And so what we saw on Monday was a 1,000-year storm. So we're talking far exceeding what these channels are capable of handling. Our challenge is to get as much of this system clean before the rain next week. So what we've done is we've actually called in support from emergency contractors as well, and they're going to start mobilizing this weekend.
The city has also identified 70 streets that need to be cleared. The work is expected to take several days to complete. As this was happening, we caught up with a woman nearby who was cleaning out her home. She says everything on the first floor was damaged or destroyed.
Everything, like anything you could think, furniture, clothes, personal stuff, memories for the kids' toys and everything. And you know what's sad? That, I think about everybody. It was Christmas. Everybody got new stuff. They got their gifts and everything. Well, all that is gone. All gone. All that is outside. And there's probably some things that we could save, but we can't save all, because if we keep saving, we could clean this, I could clean this, at the end it's gonna be like a lot, and it's too much on top of trying to deal with what are we gonna do or where are we gonna go.
This weekend, a series of volunteer cleanup events are happening in communities still recovering from the storm. You can find details on our website at kpbs.org/weather.
I'm Ariella Scalise, and coming up tonight, we're talking about a mainly clear sky, temperatures down to the 40s. We're tracking a warming trend, some highs between 5 to even 10 degrees above the historical average. And it's a pretty windy weather, too, for the weekend, but there's also going to be more rain returning. I'll show you when that's coming up.
Financial aid is now available for property owners. The San Diego County Assessor is offering grants and property tax relief to those whose properties were damaged in Monday's storm. To be eligible, property damage due to the storm must exceed $10,000. You can file a claim following the link on your screen. The reduced property tax will remain in effect until the property is rebuilt or repaired. Relief is available for small businesses and nonprofits in the city of San Diego as well. The city started the Business Emergency Response Resilience Grant today. Qualifying businesses can receive up to $2,500. Businesses and nonprofits in the federally designated Promise Zone or low moderate income census tract can receive up to $5,000. Eligible expenses include repairs not covered by insurance, cleaning supplies, employee wages, and more. Businesses must demonstrate they were impacted by the storm, have a current business tax certificate, and employ 12 or fewer people. A city ordinance with the goal of making affordable homes easier to build is now law. Mayor Todd Gloria signed a second housing action package into law today. Key reforms include the creation of single-room occupancy homes with shared kitchens and bathrooms, turning underused strip malls and parking lots into homes, and allowing the development of affordable homes in commercial zones.
At the end of the day, this is about people. This is about making sure that we have enough supply to drive down the cost of housing and put that money back into people's pockets. Last year was a great year for housing in the city of San Diego. We issued over 50% more permits than the year before, and I'm hopeful that today's signing will help put us on a path to even a better year in 2024.
The ordinance also gives commercial and residential builders within a half-mile of public transit stops the flexibility they need to build necessary parking spaces. Mayor Gloria passed his first housing action plan in 2022.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the News Hour, the UN's top court orders Israel to prevent acts of genocide in Gaza, but stops short of calling for a ceasefire. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Unruly passengers were a problem before the pandemic. New data by the FAA reveals now they're even worse. Mike Valerio looks at some potential causes of airline aggression and discusses it all with a flight etiquette expert.
In terms of engaging with someone, if someone is just being rude or unkind, we have to ask ourselves, is it worth the fight?
And the answer is no. No fighting on a plane, says etiquette expert Diane Gottsman. A common source of sky-high scuffles, according to industry experts and flight attendants, booze, getting drunk while in flight.
If you are belligerent, they may turn the plane around, or there may be somebody to greet you when you land.
The International Air Transport Association says it's working with airports and duty-free stores to encourage responsible sales and marketing of alcohol in the terminals. There are matters of common courtesy, especially when people are packed and not very comfortable in full flights. Let's talk about shoes.
Keep those shoes on. Do not take your shoes off. If you are on a very long extended flight, maybe you bring another pair of more comfortable shoes to change into, but no toes.
Also, recline with caution.
We should look backwards, make sure that this person's knees are not up against the seat.
Then there's changing seats. It cannot be for something willy-nilly, Gottsman says. There needs to be a good reason, like...
You as a parent are split from your child who is very young. You're going to want to ask the flight attendant to help you so they perhaps can find a situation, 2 seats together.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio.
A recently obtained Navy investigation says a San Diego ship captain created a culture of fear by bullying and screaming at subordinates. KPBS military reporter Andrew Dyer has more.
Back in October, the Navy didn't say why Captain Danielle Defant was removed as commanding officer of the guided missile cruiser Lake Erie. But an investigation obtained via the Freedom of Information Act says that for more than a year, the captain routinely berated, yelled, and screamed at subordinate officers. In some instances, even striking them while in command on the ship's bridge, once grabbing another officer by the collar, something the investigator says meets the definition of battery under military law. It also found the captain's persistent reprimands of 2 officers amounted to bullying.
So all this was very familiar to me, unfortunately.
Thibaut Deleu was a surface officer in the Navy for 5 years. He says working under toxic leaders was a big reason he left the service in 2020.
I was in some of the exact same situations, right? People being afraid to approach the CO. Officers reduced to tears in front of the CO. And most people are just not going to put up with that. They're going to do their bare minimum, and then they're going to leave.
Deleu says this can make people reluctant to bring problems to the CO, which can then endanger the ship. The commander of the Lake Erie Strike Group writes in his memo endorsing the investigation that the ship's crew took a survey just months after Defant took command. The captain received 70 negative comments and just 9 that were positive. Despite these results, Defant told her superior the survey showed a healthy climate on board the ship. Defant is now assigned to Naval Surface Forces in San Diego. Citing policy, a Navy spokesperson declined to comment on any further actions taken against Defant. Through a spokesperson, Defant also declined to comment. Andrew Dyer, KPBS News.
Advocates say new high-tech vending machines inside San Diego jails are the first of their kind in the U.S. KPBS reporter Katie Hyson looked at how they offer life-saving drugs to the most at risk.
Inside, it's a regular vending machine, but instead of holding chips and cookies, the coils cradle overdose-reversing naloxone and fentanyl test strips, hidden behind a huge interactive touchscreen.
Are you prepared to save a life? Opioid overdose is the leading cause of accidental death in the United States.
It's playing a naloxone training video on a loop. Instead of a hard-to-remember PIN, it prompts harm reductionist Tara Stamos-Bisig to create an avatar.
I'm going to be a purple crow.
It collects non-identifying data to help harm reductionists target their efforts, and then offers life-saving supplies for free.
And now it asks us if we'd like to dispense, and I would. It's coming down. There's the naloxone.
The ease of use enabled the Harm Reduction Coalition of San Diego to place the machines inside 4 detention facility lobbies, where people leaving the jails and their visitors can access them. Harm reductionists say it serves the population most at risk for overdose.
When they go back into the community, the supply has changed. The supply has changed whether it's a day, whether it's a month, whether it's a year. And so when they go back to that trusted source where they've purchased drugs from before, that may now have a tainted source.
Knox sourced the technology from Canada. She says the machines are the first of their kind in the U.S. and cost less than a part-time worker. And they're telehealth capable, meaning in the future, people with poor medical access could get prescriptions from a vending machine. Katie Hyson, KPBS News.
Legislation to address the crisis at the southern border might have to wait until next year. Republicans are helping negotiate a bipartisan Senate deal, but as Amy Kiley reports, former President Trump is urging his party to stop it.
I hope no one is trying to take this away for campaign purposes.
Some Republicans backing a Senate border deal are expressing frustration. That's after former President Donald Trump urged his party to reject it.
I don't doubt that he wants a perfect deal, so do I on it. But we've got to be able to figure out how to be able to do something right now.
Trump says passage would let Democrats share the political win.
I just reject the idea that we should reserve a crisis for a better time to solve it.
Hardline House Republicans already say they don't want to compromise. New obstacles mean the bumpy path to a deal might be at a dead end.
They're saying, hey, to protect President Trump, we need to make sure we don't vote on this.
Polls show immigration is the top issue for GOP voters. Now a border bill might not be possible this year. It could take even longer if Republicans don't win total control of the government and still won't compromise. That is, unless Democrats meet all their demands. In Texas, Governor Greg Abbott says he's fed up. He's ordering further deployment of razor wire along parts of the Rio Grande. That's despite a Supreme Court ruling that lets Border Control take it down. Abbott cites a constitutional right to rally troops during invasions.
It's not the kind of invasion that they were thinking of in 1787.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
San Diego environmentalists are cheering a land purchase that'll protect undeveloped land in the Proctor Valley near Chula Vista. KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson says the nearly 1,300 acres will be permanently preserved.
Conservationists have closed the $60 million purchase of a parcel of land in the Proctor Valley. The land was once expected to become another sprawling development on the edge of Chula Vista. The tract is now part of the state's Rancho Hamul Ecological Reserve.
This will be as good a place as we have in San Diego, where people can come and experience the coastal sage scrub ecosystem, which is 90% gone.
The owner of the parcel had county approval to build 1,100 homes there, but the Sierra Club challenged the proposal in court and won. Ironically, the land deal came together in part because of environmental devastation created by the border wall project. The federal government agreed to spend $25 million to buy the San Diego parcel as part of a legal settlement. Additional money came from the state, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and private sources.
Anyone following news on the environment knows that nature is taking a huge beating across the world. So it's really wonderful to be able to share some great news for a change, that a place of such global significance will be protected forever.
The Nature Conservancy called the agreement a testament to the power of partnership and commitment, and they say the entire San Diego conservation community can take credit for the deal. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
Tracking some weather headlines, and as high pressure strengthens, we will see these temperatures starting to warm on up about 5 to 10 degrees above the historical average. Some windy weather too, at times some gusts upwards of 50 miles per hour as we head throughout the weekend. Looking at a wetter pattern though as we head late into next week. So dry through tonight as San Diego drops to 47, Oceanside 42, Chula Vista you're down to 48, Borrego Springs 41, and Mount Laguna a bit chillier overnight down to 36. High pressure, our main weather maker, so we've got a gorgeous stretch of weather in Southern California through our Saturday. But Northern California, if you're doing any kind of traveling, we are dealing with some wet weather, rain, and some areas of showers through the start of our weekend. Where do our temperatures go as we head into the day on Saturday? Well, we're into the mid-70s for San Diego, Oceanside 76, Mount Laguna 48, and Borrego Springs with sunshine. We're up to about 70 degrees. There's that high pressure, still our dominant weather feature as we head into the second half of our weekend, so still a pleasant stretch of weather as we wrap up the weekend. I want to show you the next 5 days along the coast here because we're going to notice a change after a warm weekend ahead. Things are going to dip here as we head into the start of the week, and we'll see maybe a few more clouds returning by the time we head into Wednesday with a high of about 66. Looking inland as we head into the weekend here, where temperatures will be near 80 degrees as we head into the day Sunday, but we'll notice temperatures coming down a bit as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, as we'll see a little bit more cloud coverage developing by midweek. Into the mountains we go, where it will be a bit breezy as we head into the weekend, and some chillier temperatures stay around, but we'll notice a drop in temperatures as we head into next week with a high of only 43 by the time we head into next Wednesday. And let's close things out here into the desert. A nice weekend ahead with temperatures into the 70s. Temperatures a bit warmer for Monday and Tuesday. For KPBS News, I'm Ariella Scalise.
The nation's biggest live streaming convention is returning to San Diego, and it's staying here. SDSU's Mira Kopik tells us about the long-term deal with Twitchcon in the Friday Business Report.
They locked in a 5-year contract between now and the end of 2028, and the convention's going to hit in the September timeframe. Twitchcon is expected to bring in about 30,000 visitors to San Diego. This would make it one of the top 5 conventions in San Diego. And if they lock it in for 5 years, that means it's going to be an important convention overall. They went to Las Vegas in 2023, and I think what they saw is they've done, surveys that San Diego is really a fan favorite. San Diego, these size conventions are very important to the city. In the past year or so, the city's had about 500,000 visitors to various conventions, generating about $1.2 billion in economic impact, where Comic-Con is #1. But again, if you're generating conventions with 30,000 attendees, that's a big boon for San Diego, for the city, for the hotels, and for the downtown community.
World Beat Cultural Center has dried out from the recent storm and is ready to welcome Black Comics Day next weekend. The event highlights Black creators in the comics industry. KPBS Arts and Culture reporter Beth Accomando has this preview.
Ethan Jones had a vision for Black Comics Day.
Let me just make a bat signal for Black creators out there that they can all congregate and come to.
Brian J. Lambert saw that signal and responded.
Without Black Comics Day, I honestly wouldn't be where I am. I showed up to Black Comics Day #2 because a friend had told me about it, and I had 2 posters that I had gotten done, and I stapled my business card to them, Brian Lambert, writer, author.
Now he runs Wingless Comics and Entertainment, which is breaking out into animation with the new project Air Force Ones.
Unless you see someone like you doing it, or you see someone who you can relate to doing it, it's hard to get that picture in your head that I can do it as well.
Makita Cheatham agrees. She runs World Beat Cultural Center, which hosts Black Comics Day.
When I was a kid, I never had comics that reflected, me as a Black kid. So it means everything to our community. To see all these people that are Black expressing themselves through comics, it means the world to me.
That fuels Jones's desire to keep putting on the show.
Obviously, you hear about people like Stan Lee and Marvel and Disney and everything they're doing, but there's a whole slew of creators out there, particularly creators of color, which is what this show's based on, that are chugging away trying to get up to that level, and they just need a chance.
Jones is giving them that chance. Plus, he wants to highlight the diversity among Black creators. No surprise you can always find superheroes. But last year, my hall included horror, westerns, a Sam Spade-style detective, and even strippers. Plus, all were signed by the creators. Jones calls it a smorgasbord. Since the event is free, he hopes people will use the money saved to sample some of these tasty offerings. He also wants it to be easy for the artists to attend.
The term struggling artist is unfortunately, it's a real thing. And so I try to make it affordable for them, but at the same time, I do have to pay for putting this thing together.
Sometimes out of his own pocket, but he does it because he believes in it. He knows firsthand that events like this can be life-changing.
Because I got started at age 16. I sold my stuff at San Diego Comic-Con, and I walked around and actually got hired by Apple Comics at the time, and they put me on a Dracula story. This is still a small show where you can come in and get personal with the artist and develop relationships with them that may lead to some kind of magic in the future.
Once again, panels anchor each day of the convention. On Saturday, the representation of Black culture in Japanese anime and manga will be addressed by 3 panelists, including Lambert.
There have been some that have been horrible. Dragon Ball Z with Mr. Popo, who's got completely black skin and pink lips. But then we also get some better characters in Fire Force. And so we're just really reviewing the effects of cultural exchange of black culture in terms of music, hip hop, all of that.
And on Sunday, Jones will moderate a panel with Cheryl Morrow,
who is the daughter of Willie Morrow, the inventor of the California Curl. He also is the publisher and founder of San Diego Monitor, which is a black paper that's been in San Diego for many years. He's passed now, so she's continuing his legacy, and she's also an expert in black hair care.
He has coined me Afro Avenger.
Morrow will be talking about publishing as well as hair.
In black culture, obviously, hair is just one of those things that is not an accessory. It is like the epicenter. One of the reasons why, because it's the single most important thing that I think that we've had complete ownership of, that essence. And you can really express that in comics.
As Jones tries to juggle drawing his own Power Knights comic, running his publishing company Kid, and organizing this convention, he can sometimes feel overwhelmed. But
I draw energy just from the love of doing it. I honestly don't know how I got this far, but I'm feeling good, and the vibe is feeling right.
You can share that vibe as Black Comics Day returns to World Beat Cultural Center in Balboa Park for 2 days of celebrating black creators of all kinds. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you for joining us. I'm Amita Sharma, and have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.